What's good, y'all? It's friend Carrick here. Kaoss Pad tutorial time. I want to wish everybody a happy holidays. Hopefully, you've been resting or seeing loved ones or whatever you're doing, as long as you're doing it safely. Um, Wanted to make a video on this topic. It's pretty highly requested. People want to know what I use the Kaoss Pad for, what effects I like to use. So I was just going to take you guys through my presets here at the top. You can save 8 of them to these numbers. Show you how I use them. Some of them I use live, some of them I use in the studio, some both. So let's jump in. Number 1 is probably the one I use the absolute most, which is the talk filter, is what it's called. It's a nice smooth delay, kind of got like an aye sound. And I really like it to widen synthesizers and stuff like that if you have mono signals. I also really like it to transition when I'm playing live. It's a nice smooth delay with a long tail, but it's not like if you use a normal delay on the SP or something and you trigger it at the wrong time, sometimes you get like clips of the drums that can be ugly or whatever, but this is not like that. So I'm just going to quickly play a beat and then transition into another one so you can hear what it sounds like. So you hear that. Super easy transition. I usually stay on the lower portion of the screen because I don't like it as much up high. But yeah, it's super clean. I use it all the time. Like if you go back and listen to my music that I made in the last year, you're going to hear this all over the place. Great effect. Number 2, this is one I actually just recently added. It's a LFO and a low pass filter. So I'm really getting into LFOs in Ableton. So I was like, okay, probably the Kaoss Pad probably has LFOs, and yes, they do. So this, if you're familiar with what an LFO is, you probably know what this is. But basically, it's gonna like apply a low pass filter and then modulate it a little bit, depending on where your finger is on the screen. Example. So you're controlling the speed that the filter opens and closes. So yeah, that's a cool one. Number 3 is a reverb. This has a couple reverbs, but this is the one I like the most. I'm not crazy about the SP reverbs, so this one's cool. Also, it's default set to a pretty long tail, so it's good for transitions as well. Example. Rings out kind of nice. I just like it a little bit more than the SP reverbs, even though I don't use any of them that much, to be honest with you. I'd rather use a VST. Let's see. Number 4. This is another delay. I think that said like low gate or something. Low cut. Oh, yeah. So it's pretty standard. This one I mostly use for transition. I have a couple on here that are like this. Not much to say about it, honestly. It's a delay, cut some of the low, so you have like less mud when you're transitioning. It's pretty straightforward. Number 5 is a reverse effect, something that the SPs can't do very well. So I have this here kind of to remind me that it's here, even though I don't use it a ton, but it is pretty surprising how clean it is. So if I was going to use this, I would come over here, and if you hold shift down and you adjust this slider right here, the release of the effect is changed. You hear right now how there's that long kind of delay after you take your finger off the pad. They do that because it'll be smooth, but you can also turn that off. Yeah, because I want it to go straight back to the normal signal once I'm done with the reverse. So I would turn that down so that you have more like this. Do it in time with the beat. So that's a cool one for a live effect. That's just not something that you can get from the SPs. So fun to use sometimes. Next up, this is a pretty straightforward one too. The mid slicer. It's pretty cool though. So play that same beat. I'm gonna play that same beat. It's pretty self-explanatory. You're just cutting the mids, or cutting to the mids mostly, and it's nice. I like to use it when I'm playing live. You're like talking over a beat or something. You can throw that on, and it just makes it a little easier to hear your voice, things like that. Mostly a live one. We have another looper, which again, transitions. This is a looper and a high pass filter. So you hear the long tail on that, very long tail. So I like that one for delays, transitions, weird endings. You hear how long that rings out. So again, you could adjust it with the slider over here, but it's cool. Last but not least, we have the Decimator. And you might have noticed that a lot of these I'm just using for live effects, but this one I actually love to use in the studio. It's basically just a bit crusher, and I know that the SPs have a lot of bit crushers already and lo-fi and whatnot, but I really like how this one sounds, and I like the control you have over it. So I'm going to play that first beat and apply it. Usually I stay on the bottom half of the screen. The top half, it gets a little harsh, but just listen to the subtlety of it. If I put it on the bottom half, my finger on the bottom half of the screen with the Decimator, it sounds lovely. And this is something I really would normally do, is just like put it on a full beat when that track is done. If I wanted more textures, check it. So you hear the difference. You can definitely hear the difference. So I really like how subtle it is, because you have the ability to adjust how much you want to apply. And you saw me use this button, which is the hold button, so that just keeps the effect on, kind of like the SPs have a hold button. And then this knob right here is actually like a dry wet, so you can also dial in there if you want even more subtle or more, pronounced effects. So yeah, I love the Decimator. Great. It's probably my favorite bit crusher out of all these, except for maybe some of the stuff the 202 can do. But as far as the 555 and the 404, if I'm doing bit crushing, I'm going to the Decimator. And with that, you've seen my 8 most used Kaoss pad effects. The crazy thing about this is, like, there's so many of these effects. It probably has like close to 100. Every time I start exploring new effects and stuff, I'm finding more to use and to add to my hotbar, as it were. Yeah, I love this machine. Definitely going to make some more videos on it in the future. Let me know what you'd like to see. Happy New Year. Till the next one, 2021.